Hey, folks. So keep your eyes on the prize. Okay. It's an old cliche, but it's a really important one. And I think it's actually more important in today's environment than it ever has been. What do I mean by keep your eyes on the prize? Well, let's say you decide to do, at the very basic level, the very obvious thing, which to me, if you're serious about heart health, if you're serious about health in general, if you're serious about reversing autoimmune, if you're serious about reversing your vitiligo, if you're serious about anything to do with health, the most obvious thing is to cut sugar out of your diet as much as possible, and ideally all forms of sugar. This is like a no-brainer, right? What do I mean all forms of sugar? I basically mean, obviously the processed sugar is the first step, but then eventually you want to get to, like, you don't want to be having sugary fruits and bananas and dates and stuff like that as well, right? This is obvious, no-brainer stuff. Now the problem is, if you go on the internet and you try and have a conversation with someone, as I'm learning from the comments in my videos, which I'll do a reaction video another time to some of the comments, but they are not the most clever comments coming in at the moment, which is fine. So if you go and have conversations with people who may or may not be bots, if you do a Google search, if you look on YouTube, if you look for people making content, etc., what you are going to find is that a lot of those people are saying, no. Even the most obvious stuff, they're arguing against it. Now, the problem is, if they're just saying stupid things, who cares, right? But the problem is sugar is tempting. Sugar is a drug. Back when I was a smoker many years ago, if someone told me, I don't know if I ever believed this. I don't think anyone could convince me that having a little bit of, they could maybe convince me that having a little bit of nicotine, having one or two cigarettes a day was not particularly harmful. Maybe that's something they could convince me, but no one could tell me that it's healthy, right? But if they could, that would have been awesome, man, because it was a drug I was addicted to. And now you're giving me a message that I want to hear. I want to light up that cigarette every day anyway, a few times a day, right? Now you're saying, just one or two is okay. You're giving me a permission to do what I know is an unhealthy habit, and I'm going to do it, right? So in that same way, those folks who go and say, you need some sugar to keep your muscles going and all that stuff, complete nonsense, scientifically speaking, and I think you know it, right? But they're giving you permission to eat the donut, to eat the cupcake, to eat whatever it is you want, to eat the banana, whatever form your sugar addiction takes, they're giving you a green light to do it. So what we need to do sometimes is just close our eyes. Don't have to do a deep meditation practice here. Just breathe, center yourself in your own presence, and talk to yourself. What do you know to be true? Right? What do you know to be true? How do you feel after you have that sugar? Can you stop after just one bite or just one, whatever it is, one potato chip, one piece of chocolate? Can you stop after that, or do you feel the need to continue? Right? If you can stop after one, maybe you're a moderator and you're in the 5 or 10% of the population who doesn't need that fix, who doesn't see this as an addict does. But if you do, so again, you stop, you listen to yourself. What is it that I'm hearing? What is it that I'm saying? Who am I? Who do I want to be tomorrow? Do I want to be the person who goes to sugar and stuff to deal with my emotions? Or do I want to find another way to deal with that? Do I want to go for a walk? Do I want to do 50 push-ups? Whatever it is, there's no judgment about what your tool is. Even if your tool is a different drug, even if your tool is, I'm going to have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea rather than eat the chocolate, hey, that's a step forward. That's trading an addiction, trading a not so good addiction for a better addiction, relatively speaking, right? So, and listen, if you take coffee and tea, there's no implications here. I take coffee and tea every day, right? So there's no judgment in any of this. Even if you were a smoker and you cultivated a sugar addiction, that would also be a step in the right direction, right? So when you hear me say these things, there's no element of shame. There's no element of judgment. It's just a question of who do you want to be when you look in the mirror? Who do you want to be tomorrow? What is the person that you are striving towards? And what role does a drug like sugar have in that person's life, right? It has no role, biologically speaking. There's no necessity for it, is what we're saying. And that's very well understood, very well known, right? So keep your eyes on the prize, keep moving forward. If you had, the chocolate bar today, that's no judgment on what you did today. How are you going to have less tomorrow? How are you not going to give into temptation tomorrow? That's what you should be thinking. Because at the end of the day, we can't really change the past. We can only change the future. And it's important to keep your eyes on that goal, keep your eyes looking forward, And then if you keep focusing on that goal, just the way the human mind works and the way that I think the world works, you're going to reach it someday. And then you'll have a new goal. So eyes on the prize. Don't let the voices out there confuse you. Be very selective in the voices that you listen to. Don't get into, this is now advice to myself, don't get into a fight with everyone who disagrees with you on the internet. There's absolutely no point, right? Because what matters at the end of the day is what you can do for yourself and what you can do for those who are willing to listen to you, right? Not everyone's going to listen to you either. Okay, so thanks. Some quick thoughts today. I'll see you in the next one.